happy Father's Day to all the amazing dads at Messiah Community Church all over, everywhere. I'm so excited for you to peer into this awesome conversation between two stellar people, Rob Levine III, who's a great dad, and his son, Rob Levine IV. And you're going to be blessed by this conversation. Let's jump right into it. All right, hey, what's up, everybody? We are here in the mail room. I want to welcome you to the mail room at Messiah Community Church. You probably already know that we have a big heart for men. We want to see men be everything God designed them to be. And so we've started this mentoring effort called the mail room. And guys have started coming online with us and just going deep fast, where we talk about everything from men and money, men and women, men and faith, men and vocations, men in our emotional lives, our struggles, and all of those areas. And so today we're in the mail room again, wanting to just share out from all of our platforms, social media and so forth. But today is a special edition because we are with Rob Levine III. And Rob Levine, are you legitimately the fourth?
Yeah, I'm the fourth.
Okay, all right. So we call you Little Rob, but you ain't little. So we want to respect. We want to respect where you are as a young man.
Yes,
thank y'all for being a part of this conversation.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to share this particular edition for Father's Day,
Yes,
and I think we got the absolute two best for this time. So we're gonna jump in and we're going to talk, and you guys can chime in and share as much as you like. We're going to talk about your relationships with your dad, and then who knows where the conversation is going to go. So
sounds good.
Yeah, so let's just run it. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Rob, talk to us a little bit about how your relationship with God has impacted your journey as a father.
That's everything, really. I became a father at 19 years old, right? And so being a young man and trying to navigate the natural space of life, trying to figure it all out, and just being propelled into this level of responsibility that you hear about, but now it's right here in front of you. Just trying to really navigate that was tough. It was tough. So there was a lot of mistakes made. There was a lot of challenges to overcome and face on a day-to-day basis. Where am I going to get money? Where am I going to live? How can I provide consistently for him? Be there for him, and obviously being overwhelmed with all of that all the time, it's only one place to turn, and that's to God. Right. And, I was grateful to have a great example and a father, my dad, who all the adversity that he experienced in his life, he turned to God, and I watched how he was able to experience progress. So that was example number one. So I'm like, well, here I am. I'm a dad and I'm going through. So, okay, God, I need you. Show me the way. And that's where the process started for me. I'm grateful for that difficulty because as a young man, it caused me to have to walk closer to God early on. In a lot of ways, and I know I've shared this with you before, like my son, in a lot of ways, saved my life. Being 19 and you dealing with the homies out here going to the club, or, we going, go do whatever, go play some ball, go do this. Like, I had to make decisions early on to be responsible as a father. What's going to bring me back home to him? You know what I'm saying? And so only God was able to really start to speak to my spirit and give me the tools to navigate that space effectively. And then that's just been the journey, as I've moved forward as a father, growing with him. When he turned 6, then that's when, I got married to his mom. Praise God.
Okay.
And then, you know, we had our second child, and we just going on and on. You know, now we have 4 children, and I'm retired.
And you
Praise the Lord. But, you know, at every step, it required more of me as a husband and a father. So it was like, okay, God, how do I tend to the need now? Give me direction. Give me the flexibility, right? Because you got to be a different father to different children.
Yeah.
And I always have to be present for them and be there for my wife. So it was just a lot. So that's really been my journey as a father and a husband. Okay, God, you have blessed me with this tremendous responsibility and opportunity and legacy, right?
And legacy.
So how can I be responsible with all of this and honor you? That's the space that I walk in.
All right, man. So you had me at 19.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about, like, what was I doing at 19? How old are you, Rob?
I'm 22.
You're 22.
Yeah.
So by this time you'd be 3 years in if you were your dad.
And I can't imagine that at all.
Wow, that's hard to imagine, man. 19, and you're not just like, we got to buy diapers. Like, we got to do life.
Yeah.
Because I got to support this child, this baby. I got to take care of my business. I can imagine the stream of ideas or thoughts.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious if you can talk for just a second about like how did you? Was there fear? Like, was there? Because I'd have been petrified.
It was everything, you know. So, you know, I when I grew up, you know, I was like in my neighborhood in a lot of ways the shining hope, because I'm a first generation college student. I was the dude in the hood that, you know, Rob going to college, man. Let's go. Rob doing it. Because, you know, everybody else was either you went to military or you went into the street. So, you know, then when the news came down that I was becoming a father, it was a lot of disappointment that was cast in my direction. You know, it was like, all right, you had all of this lined up for you, and now it's just gone. Wow. You know, so I felt some type of way about that. You know, I'm a very competitive person. Yes. So if you tell me I can't do something and I'm no longer going to do something, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna show all of y'all.
And ain't none of that changed.
Yeah, right. So, you know, it was just like, all right, I'm determined to finish school on time. I'm determined to be there for my son. I'm determined to just not be another statistic. My son won't be a statistic. And, you know, and so initially it started out with, you know, a prideful kind of, no, it's me against the world. I got my boy with me. We gonna do it. But then you realize, like, no, you need people, and you know, because even let's be real. Like, my parents, they was a little disappointed. You know, they just was like, well, son, I don't think you really understand the gravity of what you're walking into, and I didn't. You know, so, and there was no way I had context on that. But, you know, so I was just, you know, having to process all of this, and you know, it became a thing where, okay, all right, I need more support here. I need to navigate this in a wise fashion, and God, I need your direction. God became real to me.
Wow.
And how there was constant provision, there was constant opportunity for me to continue to make the progress that I needed to make at that point in my life, having my son. You know, so it was days where I was scared, like out of my mind. Trying to launch out, not knowing how to do it, having my son, you know, we sleeping on the floor in the apartment. I'm thinking we doing it, but I'm like, I at least had a bed when I was home. You know what I'm saying? We got to step it up quick.
This wasn't the vision.
You know, but it's, you know, it was hard. It was real. You know, so it was just, you know, okay, God, help me navigate this, you know, and just God just, you know, send reminders that He's with me. Wow. Man, so I had to, I learned by virtue of my lifestyle and how I was trying to live, like, God is real. Like, He kept me. He kept us, you know. Absolutely. And to this day, you know, and I think that adversity, He and I walking together, during that time is why we're so close.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, he always could count on, I'm with my dad.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's with me. You know. So
Oh, that's good. That's
how
good.
it was.
So I want how many times have you heard your dad share this part of his story?
I've heard. I mean, it's always new like details as far as like different specific examples as far as to what he was able to do. But I mean, I always try to pick his brain about the past. There's always stuff to learn about, and I guess the beautiful thing about me seeing being born when he was 19 was just that I got to see him pretty much grow up. And I didn't really understand that until I became 19. I'm just like, I can't have no kid right now.
Yeah.
But
He's
literally,
like, I got that part.
Yeah. I don't know.
I remember when he turned 19. I was like, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Right now, a father.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh my God, it blew his mind." I'm like, "Now you see."
So that was a conversation then.
That was a legit conversation. And put everything in perspective too. Added to just the respect too. Just because I really never. He's sharing stories now as that's like staying on the floor and stuff like that. But I never really knew like struggle really was feared for like my life is like, oh, we're not gonna be able to do X, Y, and Z. So that put a lot of perspective as to what he had to really sacrifice to like it's time to work now. Like I have someone that's dependent on me for everything. So
Wow.
So that really added to it. And even like we were just talking with his journey as a Christian, I really got to watch that. And like we said, it grew with every child. And I was here for my sister, little sister, my little brother. So it was cool just seeing him grow and just seeing this how God just kind of changed his mind to how he would even approach different things. So that was always awesome. Things that might have put him in like a panicky place before, now he's approaching them more in like cerebral. Let's talk this through, and let's adapt and go forward accordingly. So
let me tell you something, man. I've watched your evolution as a man. You came to Messiah 11 years ago now?
2010.
2010. So it's 11 years already, right? So you were
11,
12, something there? Middle school. So you've had a journey with your dad, literally, as you just described, right? You watched him grow up into his own version of the man that he's come to be.
Absolutely.
So you saw the metamorphosis. You saw him go from wigging out to calm dad, huh?
Dad with the long hair.
Yeah.
Just angry today. To namaste.
To the guru.
Bold.
To the guru. I love it. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You talked about your relationship with your dad a little bit, and you alluded to his challenges, his difficulties. It was his faith that you saw turn things around.
Yes, sir.
And now here you are, right? The next generation after your dad, and you talked about seeing his faith grow.
Absolutely.
Talk about some of the biggest lessons along the way, like your big takeaways. Like at this point, right, where you are as a young man on your journey, you've watched your dad, you have the privilege of watching your grandfather, but you don't really know all the nuances, right, of that story.
Right.
But takeaways, right? What are you taking away at this point from your relationship with your dad?
Mostly, I would say a lot of self-reflection, just constantly being real with yourself as what's bothering you, what can you be doing more in this moment, what things can you be doing right now, what do you see for yourself in the future, what did you do yesterday that you could have did better. So, there's different things like that, and I think that's key in a lot of the aspects of life, because being real with yourself, seeing how you feel, it allows you to be a better person, it allows you to have a light inwardly so you can shine outwardly, and just be a better person and have positive energy towards others. So definitely just self-reflection, and because and I kind of spoke on this earlier as well, but just it creates a space for, like I said, you to be a light. And I had lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, self-reflection is definitely a huge thing, for sure.
That's a major takeaway, man. Yeah, at 22, did I get that right? 22?
Yeah, 22.
22 to be self-reflective, right? To become more self-aware as a young man. That's like
huge.
Yeah, that's like emotional maturity for some people get to 60 and don't get that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I know you got that from your dad because he's one of the most reflective, intentional people that I've ever met. And when Rob Levine III opens his mouth and see, if he says to me, Pastor, I need to talk to you, I'm like, he ain't just make this up.
Right.
He didn't think about this on the way to this conversation.
Right.
He has been thinking about this. And so for you to have the benefit of that is absolutely major.
And it's important because, you know, in this day and age where it's so much external, all of the wrong external energy. You got the social media,
Yep.
all these, just all this fake stuff that's happening. If you aren't present with who you are at every turn, you can be lost. You get caught up by the wrong thing that's influencing your visual, and you know your desires start to change, and so like that's a big deal. And I'm a huge advocate for people taking time to, you know, like pull away from the stuff, and you know, spend some time with yourself. You know, go get some peace and quiet somewhere, take self-inventory, see where you are with your emotions, and process all this stuff, because, you know, the pandemic and all this stuff that's going on, you gotta be clear.
You know, people think self-reflection is totally Eastern, right, and a thing of Eastern culture, but Jesus spent a lot of time
Absolutely.
in personal reflection,
Yep.
right? He would get away with God the Father, so it's great precedence, and if he did, if it was good enough for him, right, it's good enough for us. I'm curious, right, you talked about how being a father at a young age shaped you. What have you learned from your son? What have you learned from him?
I mean, outside of all of the obvious things that, you know, as you get older, you lose touch on, just things happening culturally. He keeps me informed of what's hot, what's not, you know, all that kind of good stuff. But, you know, Rob is very, he's really good with, you know, bouncing back. So, you know, if he makes a mistake, you know, as his dad, you know, I love him, but sometimes I got a tough love him. So I come down, hey, you should have did this, fix it, you know, and he's like, okay, I'll fix it, you know, and then I'm just like, so you think it's that easy? No, I just fixed it. We just move on. I'm like, well, you did. All right, cool. Now I gotta move on. So, no, he's really good with, you know, just bouncing back, learning from mistakes, right? So, as his father, he puts me in a position. I never shared this with him, but I shared this with his mom. He puts me in a position where I have to remember my position with God.
Wow.
So he'll make a mistake and he'll own it and apologize and move forward. And then sometimes I feel like I want to hold on to it, but I got to remember, just like I am to him, God is with me, right? So, you know, I make mistakes all the time.
Welcome.
And I'm like, God, your boy, please forgive me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just that I'm constantly reminded.
And God ain't like, fix it.
No, we should stay right here. So I'm constantly reminded of that. He is very patient with his own process. And for me, you know, as you live, you understand more about time, and you start feeling like, oh, I need to get to it now, and I need to get to it yesterday because tomorrow's not promised.
Wow.
And you know, for him, he's patient. He has, you know, he's not like thirsty, you know, being young and just eager to just go be reckless with things, right? So I think that is a thing that I really get from him, which is really cool, because he has all the promise and potential. He got the house money, he got all this stuff on his side, but he's still patient, he's still calculating, he's still thinking. And I think that's really good, because I know if I was in his position, I would be like, let's go, let's do. And that's not always the best thing to do. You know
that's
what I mean?
so good.
So
that's so good.
I mean, and you know, he's very, very talented. you know, he's always looking forward to learning and trying new things. I think that's a good thing that I always get from him, because it keeps me young in a lot of ways, like learning something new, trying something new. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's a good dude, right?
Oh, that's good.
I appreciate that.
That's good. You know, I'm listening to you guys talk and the dynamic that's been built over these 22 years of relationship. And it makes me think of my relationship with my son, Jeremy, because Jeremy is similar to you in that very deliberate. I think that's that word applies. Deliberate, right? Nobody has to rush you, push you, like give you, I'm hearing this about you, like give you the challenge, give you the information, and you're going to walk it out.
Yes, sir.
And it's been good for me, much like you, to learn from him. And I think that's an amazing posture to take. Let me just say this to dads for a moment. Don't forget that you can learn from your children.
Yeah, facts.
Right? There's something to be learned. Paul said, he says, fathers, don't exacerbate or exasperate your children, right? Don't so frustrate them. I think part of the ways we frustrate them is when we don't hear them. Right? When we don't recognize that you bring something to the table as well, right? And so sometimes we get lost between the generations because we forget that as much as they need us, we need them.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to talk about some challenges in here.
Challenge.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
Because we don't always agree, right? Talk about how you've navigated disagreements with your dad.
Just like I said, it's been so through every step of the journey, the navigation kind of changes. So I mean, kind of early on, definitely early on, and I was younger too, so you know, you can't really say nothing.
that's how you navigated in your youth.
Don't say nothing. But you know, as I got older, and even he would present opportunities for me to speak and, you know, just discuss and see where things were. But I mean, the only really main thing would just be kind of like the initial kind of anger of issues, and then just it becomes like but I mean, it never really got nothing crazy, just because of how our relationship always was, and just us being able to talk to each other. So it never got to the point of no return. It was always if 30 minutes later, if not the next morning, we just talking and just, you know, right back to where we were before, you know. So that's always been a huge thing.
That's good. So how about for you, Rob? How have you seen disagreements, right? What's been your angle, your approach, right? And I love what you said, Rob. You talked about it changing over the seasons, right, as you have grown. So your approach has been a little bit different. How about for you?
Yeah, same thing. So as a kid, you know, it's like, all right, bam, correction. And, you know, that's it. But then as he's gotten older, specifically like once he got to high school, it was a more of, okay, I need to start to see where your head is. What's in your heart? You know, what's behind what's going on? So it was more discussions. So, you know, obviously it gets heated at times, because, you know, you see him and when he's growing up in high school, you see him learning and becoming so smart and able to do so many different things, and then he'll make a mistake and I'm like, dude, what was that? But then I have to remember he's only 15 years old. He's only been on the earth 15 years. So, you know, it's like, okay, how can, and I think I've talked to you about this in terms of, you know, you're trying to get your children up the ladder. So you just kind of like massaging them as they kind of, you know, I got you, go, you know. So it's, all right, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? All right, what did you see? What led to it? You know, just being more informed without discussion. So in this situation, he can learn something valuable and apply it to the next one, right? So, and then transitioning to he on his grown man time right now. So fluff is gone. The fluff left a long time ago. So it's like, okay, this is what's really going on out here in the real world. This is what you can expect to experience. This is my story. You know this. but you may not know this. This happened to me. So I'm trying to give him as much information as possible. When he makes a mistake, okay, this is where you went wrong. Do we agree here? All right, cool. This is what we could have did differently, and you can apply that to the next time you see something similar or remotely in the same just trying to. Now he has to be at the point where he's able to lead and have that autonomy for not just himself but those that will come behind him soon. So for me, it's my helping him with challenges, and the challenges we've had with each other, especially once he got to college, was, all right, where are you mentally? What are you feeling? What went into this decision? All right, and then how do you feel like we could navigate this differently?
Okay, so we don't want to go too fast through this section right here. I think this is one of the most important parts of this whole conversation. You ask him those questions.
Yes,
That's
sir.
respect.
Absolutely.
Right, you respect his person even if you didn't respect his move.
Right.
Right, if you didn't respect necessarily his decision, how he went about it, but you respected him enough as your son,
Right.
to say, okay, let's think through this. Right, what were you thinking? What were you seeing? What were you feeling? I'm big on the what were you feeling, because you can't get to a man's heart if you cannot hear what he was feeling.
Yes, sir.
In the midst of a decision, even a failure.
Right.
Right. So just for everybody who's in the conversation with us, right? Just if you don't take anything else away, what were you thinking? What were you seeing? What were you feeling? Now, what are you going to do? But I love what you said, Rob, about at this level now, it's shoot straight time.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how you receive the straight from your dad.
I mean, since we've pretty much since I've been in middle school, started kind of the dialogue and slowly grew more and more as far as me, I'm talking and talking. So by now, it's just I look forward to it could be initiated by either one of us, because early on he was able to open up, and as far as just picking my brain as to, especially at high school, which is a really transformative time and everything. He was really able to say, all right, how are you feeling these moments? How are you doing this and that? And that really allowed me to see things for myself early on, so I didn't have to necessarily go to my friends and bounce ideas off of them. I was like, oh, my dad I see what he's saying, I see what's going on, I see where I messed up in this situation. So it made me long for conversations with my dad, which helped our friendship and helped everything. So instead of looking out, elsewhere for outside input and stuff like that, I had a direct connection with my dad, and that has, like my dad, we talk every day. We'll be up all night, laughing, all kind of stuff, just talking, driving my mom crazy. Yeah. So now it's like I said, now it's just we just talk about life, how it is, and just because we have that relationship early on, it's really easy. It's not forced or anything like that, so it's just natural, which helps a lot.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. I'm listening to this dynamic and thinking how many sons wish they had a father that they knew they could go to, right? When they hit that point where they're not sure what to do, right? You said I didn't have to go to my friends, right? And it's cool if you got some friends that you can go to who give you some insight, but typically your peers are not the ones who are going to lift you to the next level, right? It's somebody who is older, more experienced, wiser, and you had your dad for that part of your journey, and you still have your dad for that part of your journey. So I'm gonna spin the conversation just a little bit, because you're in this grown manning phase, right? You grown manning, but you're still at the crib. You're still eating your Cheerios.
Yeah, eating the Cheerios, well, the Honey Bunches of Oats.
Honey Bunches of Oats, I'm saying?
2 bowls a day.
2 bowls, one at night, what I'm saying?
So what's it like at this stage? He's now back home in your house. He's older, right? He's making decisions, making moves. What's the most challenging part of being the dad to a young man who is adulting? And and I'm raising this question in part because it's been a big dynamic in our story, right? We have 4, and they're all young adults, and that's a new relationship, right? So how are you parenting in the adulting phase?
And I definitely can't take sole credit for this. Me and my wife, we are co-laborers in this vineyard, right? So I would say the biggest thing for me is managing expectations. So he in communication. So we are all about preparing him for what's next, and he's all about preparing for his next. So being clear on and communicating regularly about what our plans are, so we can know what to expect.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's the biggest. If there's a challenge at any stage of this, it's, well, I was expecting something different than what I saw, and vice versa. So, it's good that, and I know he can speak to it as well. For his transition now, as he has been planning, it's a difference. I'm sure he's been able to see and can talk about when he's seen the support from us, when he's communicated the plan, versus when we're caught off guard by something, and what that feels like.
Yes.
So on both sides, I mean, it could be a great plan, it could be a bad plan, but when we don't know,
it's a bad plan.
It throws us off, right? So because we're just, it's a partnership, and it's like, okay, because I mean, he's home, and even though he's eating up the cereal, he's also contributing, right? Yeah. So we're all participating in the home life, but we're also participating in your next.
Right.
So how can we make sure that we keep the communication fresh? We all clear on what, I mean, we make sure we bring him in on our plans.
Yeah.
What we're thinking, what we're visualizing for, what's next for us.
Yeah.
So that we're all clear, when we talk about dreams together, all that kind of stuff. So we can begin to move down this road. When he launches, he's going confidently, and we're sending him confidently because this was a collective effort.
And he's got to launch.
Yeah, he's got the launch. The launch is happening. It's going to happen.
Right, for your own well-being, right? But for also your satisfaction as parents.
Absolutely.
Right, because I think too many families don't think about the launch, right? And if you don't think about the launch, talk about the launch, expect the launch, in some ways, kick the launch, kickstart the launch, there will be no launch.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's best advice you ever received from your dad.
Bam.
Oh, that's tough. That is tough. Oh man, the best advice. Whew. I mean, I would say the best advice, at the end of the day, was to always seek God. When everything, not even when everything's bad, just daily seek God. And I think that's honestly helped me throughout my entire life because, everyone grows on their spiritual journey. So I'm not gonna, lie and stuff, but I'm not the guy. I'll pray, but I'm not every day and every morning, every night. But I've always throughout my life talked to God on a daily basis as like a friend, like a conscience on your shoulder, just like, all right, what are you showing me here? What are you showing me now? Stuff like that. So that has gone a long way as far as my mental and just not overreacting. Everything happens for a reason. Instead of saying like, oh, why me? What are you showing me right now?
That's good.
So that's a huge thing as far as, cause from that point on, you're never truly alone in that mindset, and then that just carries on and trickles down the rest of everything else you're doing.
Oh, that's good right there. That's good. All right, I got one more for you. Because like this dude found his boo who became his bride, who was your mom, right? So y'all got married 6 years after he was born. I think that's what you said. Yeah. And you've been married now for how many years? You better get this one right, bro.
17.
17.
That's what I'm sticking with.
You're in the ballpark. You're in the ballpark, right? Yeah, somewhere in there. Best dating advice from your dad.
Oh, best dating advice?
Oh, shoot straight now. Don't be like, nah. They told me don't date this chick because she's foul.
It would be to bite the bullet sometimes, as far as when you're with your significant other or someone that you're with. Sometimes you're right. You know that you're right, but sometimes you just gotta, just drop it. You know what I'm saying? Just let everything kind of de-escalate. But I mean, I would say honestly, the biggest relationship thing. I'm more so. I've always watched my dad intentionally, so I've been able to see, different points in like my parents' relationship and see what he was able to do at different points. So honestly, the biggest thing for me has been watching them. So seeing the communication increase, seeing open dialogue, seeing him check in, like how's your mental going right now. So I try to emulate all those things in my relationships, and that helps a lot, and it goes a long way, because it shows you truly care, and it shows you care about something deeper, their internal peace and everything. So definitely me watching my dad more so has gone a huge way as far as advice and everything. So.
Oh, that's good. So he never told you like, she's scallywag, don't mess with her. Yeah,
I mean,
he don't even know what that
I mean, obviously, coming up when I was younger, he would, it's not the one, you know what I'm saying? You want to be doing this, not that, you're not doing right, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, at this point, in my life, I've been able to transition to like the next phase as far as, really communicating, being real, being adults, it's okay to talk, if you feel like this, tell them you feel like this, don't catch an attitude of not talk to each other, it's not that serious,
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Can pastors say scallywag? I don't know. I don't even know.
You took it back with that one.
Yeah. So we're in the mail room.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, so what was I gonna say? I just forgot my question. I heard you say about 4 times. I watch my dad. I watch my dad. I watch my dad. I think dudes need to really know that above all that you can say, what you do is what will be captured. Right? We say more is caught than is taught.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because people do what our children do what you do.
Absolutely.
More than they do what you say. And if my game ain't consistent as a dad, right? We don't always hit it out the park, right? We're not perfect at it, but the idea I'm hearing is try to be consistent because I know he's watching me.
Absolutely.
Right? Those 3 girls are watching you. Yeah. Let's wrap it up with these last couple questions. This has been amazing. This has been more than I bargained for. I feel like I'm sitting in dad school, you know what I mean? Right? And father-son school, right? This is how it can go. You guys are you're writing a curriculum right now.
That's what's up. Just
by sharing your story. So you mentioned the mental check-ins, right? Do you check in on each other mentally in the mental space you're in? How does that conversation sound between the two?
Pretty much for me, anytime I'm dealing with anything, my dad is probably he's definitely the first person I'm really go to like discuss and like break down different feelings, especially different things we've been seeing in the pandemic. And especially like social media and stuff, and I, sometimes I just put my phone down and just can't even look at it. Talk to my dad what I've seen, and everything. So, I mean, just in that aspect, that has really gone a long way for me.
Just having the ability to have that conversation with him, the space you're in. I think you said something really pivotal about just knowing when to put your phone down.
Yeah, because it can get overwhelming, and it's okay. And the society, it's okay to not do something everyone else is doing. Like it's okay, you're not missing anything. It's gonna be there tomorrow. You can check. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really important to protect your mental spaces in that aspect, and it's okay to talk to people. Talking to people really, because getting those things out, internalizing things is never good for you.
Right. Yes.
And no matter what you think it might be doing for you, it's never really truly good for you. So just having him as an outlet and then having his wisdom to, you're feeling like this for a reason, and then giving me a different route, and it's like, and to project that towards something healthier, how can my feelings lead to something this or new ideas, something like that. So,
yeah. Like you should never dismiss how you feel. You know what I mean? That's God gave us that.
That's right.
That's a compass.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
That's right.
But having somebody that you can talk to about it, that's not going to judge you, So I'm like, I'm like, dude, what you think about this? What you think about that? And he's just like, man, it's just whack or whatever, you know what I mean? But no, that's good. That's good. I appreciate his transparency and him just feeling like just, hey, get it. This is where you get it out. Like if you can't get it out with in your home or with somebody you can trust that can pour something valuable back into you, then it's you in a tough spot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm glad that we've been able to cultivate that space with each other.
That's major. Yeah. That's major. You said cultivate that space with each other. I think that's so valuable because the truth is there is we have a crisis of historic proportions in our nation of anxiety and depression that's real, right? And we're seeing it more than ever in our millennial and Gen Zers like never before, right? Little kids are struggling. And a lot of it is driven by the comparison trap, right, on social media.
Absolutely.
It looks like you become aware of how to navigate that. But our generation has been struggling with it as well. Do you talk to Rob when you're struggling? Like, is that a conversation between the two of you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So usually when I go through my bouts of depression, I retreat. You know what I mean? And I know he can sense, like everybody else in the house, that need a minute. Usually I'm in my basement, robe on, hoodie, in the corner, like, don't bother me. Yes. But when I come back into the common space and he and I can chop it up, it's just like you good, how's your day going? What you been up to, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, man, just been chilling, just thinking, working on this, dealing with this, processing that, and then that's when it goes from there. And he can be like, oh wow, like either like, man, I had no idea, you even like dealing with that or even like had that challenge, and he can see my journey from that point.
Yes.
And and that's something that I've been really intentional about too, is making sure my kids are baptized in the adversity that me and their mom are carrying. Because I think it's some things that you can shield your children from, and it's healthy. But for the most part, if you want them to really see God move, they got to know the story. Right. They got to be in it. You know what I mean? So we've been real intentional about, hey, this is where we are. But watch what's God gonna do, and they be like, "Yeah, y'all was right." You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's good.
And it's helping build their faith. You
that's
know what I mean?
Good. 100%. Man, y'all so real, bro. I think that's one of the things I have always loved and appreciated about you. Obviously, we've spent more time together. I watched you coming up, then you went off to school, and you came back. And I'm like, brother, got all this hair, got a full beard, right? I love it. So, why don't we wrap it up with this question? What does every father and son relationship need? Let's start with you. I want you to close this down. What does every father-son relationship need?
I think every father-son relationship needs, I guess, a bonding activity that they can, some form of a space where you can go and just be with each other. I think, because every relationship isn't going to be, we talk all the time, or we sit and watch this. Some might be go to the gym together, or you do this together. But having a space where you can be with your dad, and it be you two, and y'all can really just connect on some capacity, or just share a positive space, So I think that really goes a long way.
I love that. So having that space where you can bond. I love it. You said even if it's not a lot of conversation.
Yeah, just knowing your dad's there, but knowing it's just y'all two, and it's just y'all got each other's back. That goes. Just knowing your dad is there for you just is the next level.
That's everything right there.
He stole my thunder. He just stole my thunder. I mean, it comes down to proximity. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, walking life together that's it. You know what I mean? Having the presence, knowing, okay, my dad's here, my son's here. Because as fathers, we raise our sons to become our brothers.
Yeah.
So as I poured into him, I've always told him, I'm gonna need you to hold this down one day, right? So, along the way, just walking with him, like, not like, okay, here, take this and go. No, here, all right, now let's go together. You know, so having that, you know, I've been this barber all his life, you know, so barbershop talk, you know, just being able to just be real, transparent, vulnerable with each other, and you know, and then just, you know, like you said, man, the comment, having activities we can do together, you know, just sharing life together. This is a big deal, and I would encourage any young brother out there, or even an older gentleman, if you know, if you're an older guy, find a young guy that you can connect with, and you know, you can walk with. It would mean a lot. It would pay dividends in their life. And then as a young man, if you may not have your father in your home, that, you know, look to a male in your sphere. You know, it could be a coach, it could be a teacher, it could be someone in your neighborhood, or at an activity that you participate in, that has, you know, some positive value to their life, and they can bring that into, you know, they can offer that to you. They would be, I'm pretty sure they would be more than happy to extend that and bring you into their lives. So don't be afraid or feel like, you know, no one is going to care, because it's a lot of men out there that's looking to pour into younger guys.
Man, that's a perfect conclusion to our conversation, because I couldn't help but think about, while we're sitting here talking about this amazing dynamic that you guys have developed and nurtured over 22 years and continue to nurture. And I think about my relationship with my son, with my daughters, and I love your word proximity. I couldn't help but think about how many young men have felt absent from a father figure, right? That was my story growing up. But you're right, there are men out there who want to invest. And I just want to encourage, as Rob did, men, look for that young man, right? Look for him, approach him. You don't have to overwhelm him. Just say, hey man, how's it going?
Yep.
Right? Hey, I'm going to do such and such. Would you be interested in hanging? Right? And for the young man, there's somebody you've been watching, because that was the key word, right? You've been watching. Watch their continuity. Watch their consistency. Watch them deliver time and time and time again. And when they invite you into that space, take full advantage of it, right? Because that's really the key. I've watched, you're taking advantage of this precious gift, right, of your dad in your life.
Absolutely.
Right? Man, when you have somebody who will invest in you on this level, take full advantage of it. Hey, this has been the Mail Room, and this has been an amazing conversation with Rob and Rob. Rob 3 and Rob 4
in the building.
Yeah, man, we appreciate y'all,
Yeah,
man. Thanks for being a part of it, man.
Anytime.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how this conversation blesses people far beyond this room.